Hi, this is Mark from Stick and Rudder Studios, and today I want to take you through a tutorial on X-Camera 2.1. This is the newest release of our advanced camera plugin for X-Plane, and we've added a number of really great features to this release. The assumption here when we get started is that you've kind of either already familiar with X-Camera or you've gone through some of the other tutorials that we have up on our website, www.stickandrudderstudios.com, so that you're basically familiar with the basic operation of X-Camera. So let's see. This is not an enormous release, although we have added some really cool new features to it. So let's walk through sort of the simpler ones to begin with. So the first thing that we've done is we've added a number of options. So right now I'm sitting in X-Plane. I've got X-Camera enabled, and I'm just going to come up here and take a look at the X-Camera settings menu option. Let me just put it up here so that you can maybe see it a little bit better. Okay. So let's see. The first one that we've added is this little checkbox here called Open Mini Control Panel on Start. As you may recall, there is a mini control panel that'll automatically pop up if you put the mouse down toward the bottom part of the screen, which I'll show you in just a minute here. But we've had a number of users come and say we'd really like to have that open up by default when X-Camera starts up. So if you check this checkbox, that's what'll end up happening. The mini control panel will open as soon as X-Camera is enabled. Another thing that we've done is added this lock camera control. Now this is some interesting new behavior that I think came out in X-Plane 10.4, and there was these commands, general up and general down, that X-Camera has mapped to basically move the camera up and down. Those same commands you're allowed to map to a joystick button or switch, so that what it will do is provide responses, okay, to the X-Plane ATC controls. So the trouble we were having is that X-Camera was kind of swallowing those commands and basically moving the camera. So what some users wanted was the option to be able to lock that out. So if you click on this option here called Lock Keyboard Control, what that will do is prevent X-Camera from responding to the general up and general down commands. They'll get passed right over to the ATC window. So if you want to use a button, okay, to map to responding to ATC, you can do that. Now, if the control panel is open, you can still move the camera up and down with the arrow keys. That's the way X-Camera will look. It'll look to see if the panel's open. It'll allow those commands to move the camera. If the panel's closed and this option's on, then those commands will go directly to X-Plane or more likely to your ATC window. Okay? So these are kind of the new things that we've added. There's also this pause when aiming target. I'll cover that when we get into target following cameras, which is probably the most advanced feature that we've added in X-Camera 2.1. Okay, the other thing that we've added is this thing called mouse move. So if you recall, when you were on an external view, it was often difficult, okay, to be able to zoom the mouse around. And what we've done here is basically giving you a command that you can map, and I have mine mapped to basically a gaming mouse button. And with this command, you could basically zoom the camera with the with your mouse. The other thing that works now too in the external views is you can also use the wheel. It's a little jumpier. It's not quite as nice, like I said, as the mouse zoom capability that we've got right here. So that's another feature that we've added. The other thing that we've done is we have added a X-Plane 9 chase view. This is something that a number of customers have asked for, and let me just show you that's available in the control panel here. Matter of fact, I actually have it right down here selected. I've got one of my external cameras. There's an X-Plane 9 chase, and this will behave exactly like the X-Plane 9 chase view that so many people liked that basically is not available in X-Plane 10. It behaves pretty differently in 10. So when we get up in the air, I'll actually show that to you so you can see how that looks and how it compares. The other thing we've done is we've added an integration to Scenic Flyer. Scenic Flyer is a cool little plugin. It's only available on Windows and the Mac OS. They don't have it compiled for Linux, But this little guy, when you put it in, you could basically bring up either a little glass panel or a small GA panel that you could use when you're basically flying with external cameras. So let me kind of show that to you here. If we come in here, let me actually select my tail view here, and I'll come up into X camera and open up the control panel. You'll see here that I've got these two extra check boxes here called Scenic Flyer GA panel and Scenic Flyer glass panel. So I can select that, and what will end up happening is if you've got the Scenic Flyer plugin installed, it'll bring this little panel up here. And you can switch back and forth between the glass panel or the GA panel. And what's really nice about this is, as you'll see in a minute here, let me just save these cameras. If I go back, this is completely selectable based upon what view you've got. So, you can turn it on and off. Now this would have worked even without X Camera 2.1. You could have enabled the panel yourself directly with Scenic Flyer commands, but I think this makes it really pretty nice. You can basically turn these panels on or off based upon whether you want to have a panel on in a particular external view or you don't want it on. So I think that's the majority of what I would call the simpler features in X Camera 2.1. Now I would say that the most pervasive feature is this concept of targets and target following cameras. Now targets are kind of similar to airport cameras. They're basically free cameras or free locations on the ground. They're not attached to the plane. The difference with targets is you can define them any place in the world you want. And you could do this through a number of different techniques, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. But the concept would be that you could fly over a particular area, and then you can basically drop a target at the exact location where the plane is at. You can also do things like fly over an area, get near to your target, create a free camera, and then move that camera around with the mouse move or the arrow keys and get it placed exactly at the target that you want, and then you could save it as a target. We've also got a kind of a built-in target, which we'll call a free target, and that allows you, as you're flying along or even if you're on the ground, you can aim a target at a particular point using something similar to a mouse look or mouse aiming type capability. And then what X Camera will do is it'll track that target on the ground regardless of how the plane moves. Pretty good for doing things like helicopter landings and things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is get up in the air here, and we're going to fly over. Right now I'm at K San Diego, or K-San. This is one of Mr. X6's fantastic airports. And one of the things I love about this scenery is that there's an aircraft carrier right over in the port of San Diego. And what I'm going to do is fly over there, and we're going to actually create a target camera right on top of the aircraft carrier so that it can track our landings, or we can also track it on the aircraft carrier. So without any further ado, let me get this puppy up in the air and we will fly over to the aircraft carrier. So as you can see, I've gotten pretty close to the aircraft carrier right now. I'm going to get right up next to it, and then I'm just going to pause the sim. Okay, I think this looks pretty close. So there's a couple of things I could do now to create a target camera. I could come up to the menu option here under X camera and then basically just say save target position. Now what this is going to do is it's going to basically create a target right exactly where the plane is at. That includes its elevation and everything else. And the one challenge with this is that you can't move it once it's done that. So it's pretty good for placing targets on the ground where maybe you've got your helicopter landed or something of that nature. You can always go into the target file, which is nothing but a comma delimited file with latitude and longitude and elevation, and you could edit that to move that camera around. But the other way I like to do it is to basically come in and create a free camera. And if you just come on up here into your X camera control panel, what I'm going to do is just come over here and say create free camera. I'm going to shut off these tracking options here, okay, so that it makes it a little bit easier for me to move it around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the mouse move type capabilities to basically get this camera moved exactly to where I want it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right up on top of the kind of radar tower here. Let's come up a little bit. I think like right over the top of this thing here looks like a pretty cool place to put a target. And I got that thing pretty well placed. And then I'll just come up here and I'll say X camera, save target position. Now, what's interesting this is that X camera realizes that it's basically saving a target position based off of a free camera. So what it's really doing is it's looking exactly at what those free camera free camera coordinate is, you know, the latitude, the longitude, the exact elevation, and it's going to allow me to save that target under a name. So I'm just going to save it here as a KSAN carrier. Okay, and now that target is basically saved. Now, what I can do here, there's a number of commands you can map. First thing I'll do is I'm just going to select nearest target, and you can see what this is doing. And you notice I got the sim paused here. We'll turn it on in a minute so you can see what it's doing. This is now a target following camera, and I'll show you how I created that. If you just come up here in X camera control panel, you'll see that it's just simply an option that you can put on here, target following camera. And when you do that, what this camera will do is it'll automatically track, okay, the target that you've got selected at the moment. And you could have numerous targets. Any of them within a 30 nautical mile range will be available for you to kind of select with commands like next target, previous target, nearest target, that type of thing. The other thing you can do is you can also select a target reciprocal. So here, all it's really doing is I'm swapping between a view from my target camera, which is attached to the plane, focusing on the target, which is right over here in this area right here. As a matter of fact, I should be able to kind of zoom right in on it, see, with the mouse zoom. Or the reciprocal, which is basically from the camera looking back at your plane. And again, I can kind of zoom right in. Now, obviously, if the sim was paused, not paused, this would all be moving, and we're going to undo that in just a minute. But it's kind of easy to show you a few cool things right here. So down in the bottom half of the screen here, you've got a little notice box, okay, that is showing up, showing you that this is a camera to the KSAN carrier. It gives you the bearing, the pitch, the distance in kilometers, distance in nautical miles. If you pick the target reciprocal, it's going to show you the opposite. It's going to say from the KSAN carrier, what's the bearing to your plane, the pitch, and the distance in nautical miles. Okay. Now we've also got this free target, and I'm going to go ahead and select that. Okay, this is kind of a thing that comes in kind of for free, and every time you go and you select targets, a free target will always be in the list. And a free target is something that you can kind of aim. Now this one, Kurt, right now is sort of pointing out at the ocean right at the moment. But the way free targets work is they have sort of like a mouse look type of a functionality. So what I'm going to do is enable mouse look. And you'll see that I get this kind of little red X. What that's going to allow me to do is to basically aim the target at a particular spot. And now if I go back and forth, you could see that now what it did is it didn't quite hit the flight deck. It flipped over and got into the ocean. But you can aim that target around and pretty much get it to position anywhere as you want it to position. So let's get up in the air here again. Let's get going. Unpause the sim. See if we can't fly around here a little bit. And here you can see me flying away, looking back at the plane. So here you can see I'm looking down at the target on the aircraft carrier. Here's the reciprocal. So here we are again at our aircraft carrier in San Diego, and I am going to attempt a landing. Frankly, I'm not very good at this, but we'll give it a try. And you can kind of see where our target following cameras. Here I'm looking from the plane to the conning tower target, and here's the reciprocal back. And let's see if we can't land this baby. A little forward motion there. There we go. Wow, pretty nice landing. And there I am looking up at the conning tower, and there it is looking down at my plane. Not bad, huh? Alright, let's go take a look at some other cool things you can do with these free targets. So what I'm going to do is get myself situated over at another one of Mr. X6's fantastic scenery packages, which is KSFO. And when I get over there, they've got an actual moving carrier that I can actually throw some free targets right in the front of, okay? So you can actually see the carrier going by while you're landing it, so it's pretty cool. So let me get over to that airport. So we're heading on up the San Francisco Bay right now. I want to show you some other features of target following cameras and targets. I've got a bunch of targets that I've actually created here in the Bay Area. But while we're heading on up there, one of the things I want to show you is this chase camera, this X-Plane 9 chase view, to see what that looks like. So come on down here. I'm going to just select the chase view camera, and what I want to show you is how it behaves differently. So you can see now as we fly, the thing that basically happens is the camera, at least from a horizontal perspective, it tends to stay level. It will pitch. So as you can see, it's kind of following the plane's pitch up and down. But this is a lot more like the way the X-Plane 9 chase view worked. And it's pretty different, okay, from the way the X-Plane 10 works. I mean, for all intent purposes, I think the X-Plane 10 chase view is similar to what we've got going on here, you know, with our external view cameras. So for those of you that really like the X-Plane 9 chase, here's the camera that you can use, okay, for doing that. In a couple minutes here, we're going to be on up over the Bay Area, and what I do is I want to show you some of the other cool things, okay, that I've done with targets, okay? So this radio tower here, I've actually got a target on. You can see that we're tracking that, and then from the tower we're tracking our plane, just switching back and forth between the reciprocal here. And then I've got another one that I put up on the bridge here, which we'll see in a couple minutes when we get up here. So here's one of the bridge. I've actually got it right up by the north tower, so you can see the target camera is tracking that, and if I go to reciprocal, you can see my plane from the bridge. And here's another target here that I've got right on top of the water tower at Alcatraz. And here you're taking a look at the camera tracking that target, and here's the reciprocal, the plane flying right over the top of it. So pretty cool capabilities. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is see if I can fly over and find that aircraft carrier. It's usually over in the West Bay someplace. So let me find it, and I'll show you some of the other things you can do with target following cameras over there too. So here we are coming up on the carrier, and what I've done is I've actually dropped a free target right in front of that carrier, so you can actually see it as I do the reciprocal. See, I'm looking at it, and I also can see the camera, which is just about a meter above the water, seeing the carrier come through, and you can see my plane coming in for the landing. Kind of go back and forth between the target camera. It's not easy landing on these carriers, let me tell you. Now, one limitation of target cameras at the moment is I don't have an ability to drop them on a moving target and have them move with the target. If you were to actually try to drop a camera on that moving carrier, the camera would like slip right off of the carrier deck, unfortunately. It is something I'd like to figure out how to do at some point, so maybe in the next release, if that's actually possible to do that. You can see the carrier just passed the target. I'll actually aim the target again here real quick, just so you can see. All you have to do is kind of put the red X roughly where you want it, and it's repositioned. And here I am coming up on the carrier again. I have dropped a free camera right off the port bow. You can kind of see it here. I think what I'll do is I'll reposition it again real quick. Just use the middle mouse button and kind of aim the X where you want it. There we go. Okay, so that I think pretty much sums up the features we have in X-Camera 2.1. I hope you really enjoy it. The manual has a lot more detail in it that you can take a look at, but I think that you'll find it's pretty useful. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to send us an email at support@stickandrudderstudios.com. Hope you have a great day and hope you enjoy X-Camera 2.1.